Hi, Weather Joey here with your bottom of the South Island, actually South Coast. We're calling it now weather recap and forecast for Sunday, December 21st, solstice of 2025. We had the winter solstice this morning, and we welcome the new sun coming up, the gaining light, slowly but surely. We'll see light increase, and that's a welcome time, even as we head into the depths of winter. So yeah, more on that to come, but we welcome the solstice and the new solar year. I don't know if it's a new solar year, but seems like a good place to start. But before we actually get started, as always, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank and acknowledge the First Peoples of this land, the First Nations, from North Saanich out to Sooke and beyond across Turtle Island, this beautiful land, for allowing us to live, work, and play on their beautiful traditional territory. Particularly, yes. Thank you. Aishka. Thank you. Okay, so last forecast, we've got a lot to get into because if you look back on the 21st, now we're into 21 days straight of recorded rain. If you're looking back over the old data, and if you don't have access to the data in the future, someone took it away from you, or maybe there's no electricity. Maybe if you somehow just I don't know. There'll be electricity if you're watching this, but there may not be data. So you think it's wet. We feel like it's really wet right now, but let's look back at some records. So far this month, in the first 21 days, first 20 days, Vancouver's had 145 mil, Abbotsford 250 mil, Victoria 168 mil, Comox 128 mil. Now that's over 20 days. If we compare that to big torrential downpours, one of the biblical 13, 14 storms that we've had over the past 80 years. 1979, this time of the year, mid-December 19 is actually December 13th to 17th, 1979. Vancouver in those 5 days had 160. Now this is a true atmospheric river. We had some during this month, but this is a 5-day atmospheric river. 160 mils to Vancouver in 5 days. 215 to Abbotsford, 168 to Victoria, and 110 to Comox, all within that 5 days. You know, Comox doesn't get as much on those because they're coming in from the southwest. Not a lot of southeast winds bringing it back up the East Island. Comox tends to get them more, this East Island, more on the bombs, where there's really tight circulation coming around in from the southeast. So we'll try to mention that as we come and go into the future. But other things about December. This is going to be a long one. Other things about December. We've looked back on 2022 when we had a, right around the solstice, we had a deep freeze. Not a major deep freeze. Not like the 1964 one. But 2022, more recent, we had a pretty good deep freeze followed by snow. So we're looking at 20 to 30 centimeters of snow around the south coast. So that was one to remember. That was just 3 years ago. And 2 years ago, I want to mention this. We had the warmest December on record where we rarely, I think we dropped below zero a couple of times. Now, this December, we're on record for the first 20 days. We're actually even warmer than that was. So we're on record for another warmest. It's right now we're sitting about 4 degrees above normal, which is ridiculous. Most record months are about 3 degrees above normal. That's what the 2023 was for December. So right now we're at about 4 degrees. This next stint, as we get into the forecast, we're going to see that we'll bring some cooling in, so we'll probably be around the same, maybe even a little less, but still, record warmth in December. Over 80 years, that's 2 years close by. That's something to take note. Anyway, so last forecast, we were pretty much on target. As we got to the 16th, 17th, 18th, if you look back at the last forecast, we started to see freezing levels drop as this low drops down the coast. So we had this Gulf of Alaska low coming down the coast a little bit. It was drawing in more air from here, but this was really in the upper levels. You won't see it on the temperatures so much through the 15th, 16th, and even into the 17th. You won't see it so much low down sea level. But up high, we start to see cooler air come in and pulses of moisture, and this kept us in the snow. This brought the freezing levels down, snow to the most of the local hills. Let's see, as this low drops down the coast. However, it's still sourcing mild subtropical air from the west-southwest. And that's what I'm saying, is from as it dropped down here, still some lower level mild southwest or west-southwest subtropical. The last little system came through on the 18th with a nice little punch here. We had lots of rain, still an atmospheric type river hitting the western Washington and down into Oregon. This whole thing, as we came through on the 18th overnight into the 19th, this slid down the coast, and this made way for this low to bring in more cool air the whole way through. Temperatures dropped a little bit to more seasonal levels right now. And this is what really affected over the past, let's see, 19, 22, or into the 21, into 21 today, 22. This continues to circulate around with pulses of moisture coming from the west, in from the west-southwest. We have a system coming in from the southwest a bit into tomorrow, which is the 22nd, punchy little system. But lots of snow for the hills. The hills are finally getting snow up there. Cool rain down here. We're still wet. Not the wettest, like I said, but still very wet. And it's coming in pulses. It looks like tomorrow's got another good pulse. Now, as we get into, let's see, Tuesday would be the 22nd and, no, the 23rd. So we're going to see this low. We're expecting this low to start dropping down into the south here and down the coast. And what that's going to do, we still got this over here. We've got Bering Strait high pressure. We've got low pressure kind of all around here. This is still heading in. But this whole trough system looks like it'll drop down into here, and we'll get this low pressure down here. Now we've got cool air coming down here. So as we get into more like the 24th, 25th, we're going to see this cool air spill out onto the coast. Some outflows out here, but spill out over the coast. How strong it gets, we're not really sure, but it looks like some cool air, drier air coming down over here. And that's for the 24th, 25th. But as we get down here, we're seeing this low spin around, and it looks like it's going to spin up some moisture as we get in towards the 25th, which is the Christmas day around here. And if that moisture comes up and meets that cold air down there, we could get a little bit of Christmas magic over the South Island, South Coast, in the form of white stuffed snow. So we'll have to be watching that. That's always a nice little treat, just to see it falling, and that snow's so magical on the South Coast. It really is. So it's a neat feeling as the sound gets muffled and the silence comes, just slowly falls into the evening. That would be really nice to see with all the colorful lights around and everything. So anyway, cold air coming down here. As we get into that, so that takes us to, wow, it is not clear how that goes to low. We're still not sure. Yeah. So it looks like that will take us through there. Now we do have something forming up. We're going to see this low potentially kind of move on, and on the other side we're watching the development. It's going to be slow. It looks like we're going to still have cold air coming down after Christmas, but towards the end of the month it looks like we're going to get a new pattern start forming here, where we get some atmospheric river action at the BC coast. Not really sure how that's going to transform and form, but right now we're looking at, look at this, looking at the Panhandle, the Central Coast, maybe the North Island, and if that switches down, we may be back into some atmospheric river and heavy rain and milder temperatures, but that's way off in the future. Grab that at the mean of a sip. To my friends, spirits and beings of this land, that's my small gift to you. Thank you. for watching over us and guiding us and accompanying us through these darker days of winter, and seeing all your specialness out there, and to you in the future, out generations and generations. I hope you're doing well out there. And this goes out to you as always. May the forecast be with you.